So thanks everyone for joining us today for this week's Thursday 30 with Kirsten Gottschalk and Maria Vonica from Tobii Dynavox. They're going to be talking about modelling AAC with users across all ages. If you have a question for them, it'd be great if you could either type it into the chat and we can answer it at the end, or at the end you can unmute yourself and ask the question yourself. All right, then over to you, Maria. Thanks.
Thank you, Annabelle. Thanks for joining us, everyone. So I'm Maria Vonica. I'm an AAC Training Coordinator for the UK and Ireland. And then I have Kirsten here. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Kirsten. I'm the Assistant Consultant for London with Tobii Dynavox.
And our topic for today is titled Show Me, Guide Me, Watch Me, where we're going to talk about modeling AAC with users across all ages. So while you may have heard about modeling primarily with children, since we need to show them and teach them how to use their language system, we're also going to need to model with adults, and we just wanted to highlight that importance as well. Since it is a new language system for adult users as well. So an adult who's just learning to use AAC will also be learning this language system. Through modeling, we ultimately want to fade away our support, where we guide users in using their AAC system and then eventually just watching them as they navigate communication independently. So while I'm sure most of you know what AAC is, it's important to review what it is just in order to understand why it's important to model, regardless of any age. So what is AAC? AAC stands for Augmentative and Alternative Communication, which is a tool, strategy, support, or any form of communication that's used in addition to or in place of the spoken word. And we can think of it like learning a new language. We are essentially teaching someone to communicate in another way with us. So whether they're a child and they're learning to communicate for the first time if they're not speaking, or an adult who previously was speaking and now needs to learn a new mode to communicate. And there are different types of AAC, and we can model with all of them. So we can very broadly define AAC as no tech or low tech, and this could be gestures, body language, facial expressions, vocalizations. Those are all no tech ways to communicate, and all individuals use these. So, even verbal individuals, you and I, we use pointing, we use gesturing as well. So those are the no tech. And then low tech AAC can be considered maybe a printed communication book, any schedule supports, visual regulation supports, also pages of symbol or text page sets that can be used in terms of partner assisted communication or also scanning. And then we've also got high tech, which are touch screen devices and systems that convert symbols or text to speech. And it can also be devices controlled by the eyes. So no matter what type of AAC a person is using, there are opportunities to model with all of them. And if we think about AAC like learning another language, whether you're teaching a child or an adult a new language or a new skill, you still need to show them and teach them what that looks like, right? We can't expect someone to just pick it up and go. We do need to teach everyone that new skill. So why is modeling so important? So here's what we know about AAC and exposure to language models. So a typically developing 18-month-old child has been exposed to about 4,380 hours of oral language at a rate of 8 hours a day from birth. So from birth to 18 months, if they're a typically developing child, that's how much language they will have heard in 8 hours of the day. Now, how long do you think it will take a child who has a communication system, who's learning to use AAC, and they see it modeled twice weekly for about 20 to 30 minutes in speech and language sessions, how long will they take to reach that same amount of language exposure? 84 years. So you can see why modeling is so important because these children are already at the disadvantage. It will take them nearly their entire life to get the same amount of language that an 18-month-old child gets from birth. So in 18 months versus 84 years. And this is only through 20 to 30 minute sessions twice weekly. So we know that's not always the case. It can be once weekly, and then, they're even further at a disadvantage. So AAC communicators need to see and hear other people speaking in their modality. So imagine this. As an adult, you're trying to learn a new language. Let's say it's French. However, people around you hardly speak it. So you're unable to hear it in various situations and contexts, and you can't truly immerse yourself. However, you're expected to be proficient in it after just a few lessons. So now let's think of another scenario where you move to France, you're fully immersed in the language, you can hear and see the language all throughout the day in the grocery store, at the park, wherever you go. So obviously the second situation will lead you to learning that language more quickly because you're able to hear and see it across the day in different contexts. It's not just here and there when you're at your lessons. When you're immersed in that language, you learn it much quicker than in one context. Maybe you're at a class for 45 minutes a week. So this highlights the need for us to model AAC everywhere. So for children who will use spoken language to communicate, they learn by adults speaking and modeling language throughout the day. So they get lots of input, which will then match their output. So they're hearing spoken language and they will then produce spoken language. Again, this is for verbal children. For AAC communicators, they also need to see how their way of communicating works. So they need to see others communicating in the same way that we expect them to communicate. So when we provide an AAC, or when we do not provide an AAC model and we're only providing the spoken language, but we're expecting them to produce an AAC output, this does not match. The input does not match the output. So learning language is slow and difficult. So what we need to be doing is providing an AAC model plus our spoken language model in order to expect them to produce either an AAC or potentially spoken language. So the input has to match the output. We can't be expecting them to learn a system or to learn a language and produce it if we're not even showing it to them. So again, it might happen, the learning will happen, but it will be slow and the cognitive effort will be on learning it and how to navigate it rather than the meaning of it. So let's talk about some benefits of modeling. So modeling benefits the AAC user in numerous ways. For one, they see someone else communicating in the same way that they do. So it provides that exposure and the input then matches their output. It also helps them see AAC as accepted. If they never see anyone using AAC, how would they know it's communication, right? They're seeing verbal language all around them and it's a conversation, but how would they know that they can respond and get that same reaction through AAC? It also improves their language skills. And so research shows that AAC modeling intervention could lead to increases in turn taking, improvements in receptive language and expressive language as well. And I just also wanted to point out that in the case of adults, it might be a hard transition for adults to move from a previous spoken language system to potentially now requiring AAC. So it is important to show the user how to use it and ensure that they see it as an accepted form of communication as an adult as well. It also learns or it helps the AAC user learn to navigate their AAC system, so they're able to find the words that they're looking for independently. And ultimately, it increases the person's use of AAC, which we want in order for them to be able to communicate and share with the people around them. It also benefits the communication partner. So first, they're able to learn the location of vocabulary better. So if they're better equipped to understand where vocabulary is in the system, then they're able to show the user where to find it, and also provide opportunities to look for customization opportunities as well. When we model, it slows down our speech rate, which helps us become even better speech models. So, we're able to demonstrate clearer speech for them. We also are emphasizing keywords and ideas through the words that we're modeling. So we're able to really help them in learning those ideas and concepts more easily when we select 1 to 2 keywords. Modeling allows us an opportunity to interact more naturally as opposed to direct instruction. So we're providing that natural conversation style environment. And finally, it allows connection building with the user. So they learn that they're able to share their wants and needs and thoughts and opinions with someone, and they're going to be reciprocated, which is the ultimate goal in communication. So what is modeling exactly? So modeling is using and touching the communication system as you're talking your whole sentence. You're going to use and touch the system. It's showing the AAC user how to use their device. So again, that's on us to show as communication partners. And it's using the AAC system to demonstrate conversations, including making comments, describing, asking questions, giving opinions. It's not going to be just wants and needs. It's going to serve for a variety of communicative functions. And then modeling is not demanding the communicator to participate. It's about showing. It's about what we do as communication partners to show them how to use their device rather than their response. It's not going to be prompting the communication partner to point or touch the picture. We can encourage it, maybe by hovering over what we're looking for them to respond with. We can hover our hand, but we're not going to withhold anything in order to get them to touch anything. And we're not going to require the AAC user to imitate or copy. So, they could walk away and that's okay. We're not going to require that again to move forward. So how do we model then? So we're going to broken down, modeling is touching the words on the device as we're speaking them out loud. And even if someone is using an eye gaze system, we can still model by either touching a device or a low-tech communication board while we're speaking. And we recommend modeling core words. So those are flexible, functional words that can be used in any setting. So words like want, go, more, stop. Those are types of core words that we're going to look to model. We're going to model keywords. So think of your sentence and what are the key messages in this sentence? Oftentimes we hear from parents, caregivers, teachers, what do I model? Which words? And the answer to that is that it depends on the AAC communicator's language level and also what you want to say at all. So if you're new to modeling, maybe you want to start at their language level. So if they're using single words, start with single words. But we do want to work their way up. And also give yourself time to get familiar with modeling as well. So let's say you're getting ready to go to lunch. You would say, let's go to lunch, and maybe you press go, or maybe you're picking the word lunch on their device. So those are just single words. Once you start to get more familiar, maybe you want to model 1 to 2 words above. So if you're saying, let's go to lunch, you'll model both go and lunch to show them, these are the key words. We're going to lunch and the key ideas. We also want to model without expectations. So there's no expectation on the user to produce anything. It's simply, again, about our actions and what we're doing to support the AAC communicator in using their device. So our goal is to create an environment of AAC language immersion where they see AAC being used without that pressure to communicate or to respond back. And we might not be familiar with all of the words and located on our user's device, and that's okay, because by making mistakes ourselves, we are demonstrating to the AAC user it's okay to make mistakes. It also relieves you from feeling like you need to model correctly all the time. You can't really go wrong with modeling, so it's totally okay to make those mistakes. And again, you're just showing the user that it's fine and how to correct them. And thinking out loud. So think out loud while you're looking for a word. Oh, I'm looking for apple. I wonder where it is. Your user might be able to then help you locate apple. Or if there's a favorite toy they're looking for, they might know where that is. By talking out loud, you're just being transparent about your navigation process. Or, oh, it's not there. I need to go back. And you're hitting the back. Again, just teaching them about the location of where they can access those tools. And because modeling is so easy to implement and we do want them to be successful in a variety of environments, we want to get everyone involved. So whether it's parents, grandparents, siblings, friends, whoever it is, we recommend that you try to get everyone involved in at least a little bit of modeling so that they learn to use it across all environments. And just some reminders about modeling. So just go right in. It'll get easier over time. Also, again, want to remind that it doesn't require any sort of imitation. So it's not that you're doing anything wrong when you're showing. If they walk away, that's fine. We just want to provide that language-rich environment for them. Also making sure to pair your voice with AAC. So continue saying your whole sentence and your whole phrase, but model, again, 1 to 2 keywords and model that so that the input matches the output. Model as you're looking for vocabulary. Again, embracing mistakes. You can't really go wrong as long as you're keeping in mind, is this what the child would want to say? And that you're providing any sort of language-rich environment for them. There's really no mistakes. Model throughout the day so that they see it in a variety of contexts. And keep it positive. We don't want to make it a quiz or a test. We want to make their experience with communicating as positive as possible. And I'll hand it off to Kirsten.
Okay, so now what we want to do is just make it real. So what are some ways that we can start modeling? So modeling core words is a fantastic starting point. Core words are flexible, functional words that comprise about 80% of our language. So this means that core words make up 80% of what we say, read, and write. So when we use core words, we have access to a lot of language that can be used to engage in various ways, settings, and more. Core words are words that you'd often hear like go, stop, want, who, I, like, not, help, when, and many others. So let's consider a few words to get us started with modeling. So this is our motor plan page set in TD Snap, which is a simple support page set where each word has a distinct path or motor plan to find it. You can see the page we're on here consists of core vocabulary words. A word like go is very functional since it can be used in so many settings. You can model let's go for a walk, or do you want to go outside, or where should we go? In each situation, you would verbally say the sentence, but select go on the device. Another word is stop. We can use the word stop to stop the music that's playing and to stop the blender that's making a smoothie, or to stop doing homework for users who want to get out of doing their hard schoolwork. So while our goal should be to model in all situations, it might feel more approachable to begin modeling in specific situations or routines that you already have to begin. So we can think about events that happen regularly and are part of a routine, like packing a lunch for the next day, or maybe it's going for a walk. Since these routine events tend to have clear starting points, succession of events, and endings, it can be natural for us to bring in the AAC system to begin modeling. So this next one, we're looking at the TD Snap Core First page set. So this is a symbol supported page set designed for anyone developing language skills, and it also supports literacy. In this example, we're modeling the vocabulary want or more in the context of food or snacks, since this is very motivating. So while packing a lunch, we could focus on the words want and more. So this could look like, I want to pack applesauce, and we would model the word want on the communication system. If we are adding popcorn to a container to pack, we might say, do you want more popcorn? While touching the buttons for more and want on the device. So we know that our goal should be to incorporate modeling consistently and as much as possible throughout all situations and spaces, just like modeling in specific routines and consider beginning modeling in specific places, and then we're expanding. And these specific places, the communicator may be supported by people who are not involved in the other possible examples we have already discussed. So for example, if you have a doctor's appointment on Monday, a birthday on Wednesday, and you go on walks every evening, we want to identify some vocabulary you can model in each situation to make it easier to anticipate. Quick fires are made up of anytime or anywhere words and short phrases. The view here is in TD Snap Motor Plan, but quickfire is available across all of our page sets, so you'll always be able to find that. Let's look at how we can use quickfires to model in a specific place. So we might be talking about the park. Think about how the AAC user might like to participate when visiting their neighborhood park. Are they there to socialize with neighbors and friends? Phrases like, how are you? And have a good day might be especially useful in this situation. They can be found from the greetings folder in any TD Snap page set. Quickfires are made up of anytime, anywhere words and short phrases. Let's look at another situation where we might model in a specific place. So this time we might be at a restaurant. In this example, we're actually using the food word list in the TD Snap aphasia page set. So the aphasia Snap was designed to help adults with aphasia communicate while also supporting language recovery. While eating at a restaurant, we have many opportunities to model. Think about your typical conversation with friends and family while sharing a meal. You're likely actively participating in the conversation in a variety of ways. So again, we're commenting, we're asking questions, we're sharing stories. You're doing so much more than just ordering a menu item. And we should think about how we can model this for the AAC communicator too. Here you can model you're ordering your own food, saying, I'd like the steak, please. You can also customize this page to include the person's favorite menu item at restaurants they go to often. Additionally, in TD Snap Aphasia, you can model using the communication repairs quickfire page if the person's struggling to communicate. You might say, it looks like you're stuck. Do you want me to give you some choices? Remember, we can model with multimodal communication using different types of AAC. So this means we want to accept and model all forms of communication, whether it's a head nod, a glance, verbal communication, anything like that. It's all communication. So modeling AAC is about showing the learner how to use it across all environments, people, and situations. Then it's about guiding them through it as they develop their skills in communicating, allowing them more independence in using their system. So we just want to remember that AAC users are learning two new things. So what the words and symbols mean, and also how to navigate finding them on their system. We want to get to the point where we watch them succeed in communicating with others independently. Okay, so thank you. I guess we can take time for questions if anyone has any.
Does anyone have any questions for Kirsten or Maria? Everyone seems to be very, very quiet this afternoon. Doesn't look like it. So thank you. That was really good, really clear. Maybe that's why nobody has any questions. It's, yeah. So this has been recorded anyway. So if anyone wants to, you know, watch it again later or show it to colleagues, then it will be available on our recordings page of the website. Hang on a second. I just see a question there. How can someone with visual impairment work with this? Do you recommend enlarging the symbols or grids?
Yeah, I can answer this, and then Maria, if you want to jump in too. So we do have lots of great tools for somebody with visual impairment. So this can be something that can be changed in our software in TD Snap. So you can change. We have high contrast symbols. So again, if there's somebody with visual impairment, it increases the colors and makes it easier for them to see. You can also, again, adjust the grid sizes to make them larger. We also have a lot of tools. We won't get too technical, but you can always reach out to one of us. But basically, we have different access methods. So this can look like, we have one called auditory scanning. So they can drag their finger it out loud so that they don't have to rely on the visual so much, and the auditory can kick in, as well as lots of different access methods. So again, it's there's lots of ways to kind of unlock that for somebody with a visual impairment, and we can always kind of look at the specific case and kind of give some recommendations around that. But yeah, Maria, I don't know if you have anything else to add to that one.
Oh, you got it. I was gonna just highlight the high contrast symbols and like changing that, but yeah, got it.